We would like to thank your sponsor, Valley First, a division of First West Credit Union and a member-owned financial cooperative serving the Okanagan, Similkameen, and Thompson regions. They offer a wide range of banking and investment services for individuals and families. Valley First also has a talented business and commercial team to provide the expertise, products, and services local businesses need to grow and thrive.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Business Matters, presented by Valley First, a division of First West Credit Union, where we delve into the stories and insights of leaders and change makers in our community. I'm your host, Rob Capello, and today we're joined by Amanda Henley, franchisee at Pure and Simple Kelowna. Amanda, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So your journey in the restaurant industry is a testament to resilience and innovation, to say the least, as we talk about you've been through some challenging times. And I'd love to kind of explore a little bit of sort of, you know, when you started out and where you are today. But before I do, I'm curious if we can just chat a little bit about, I'm always curious about, like, what were you doing before? Like before you started working with Pure and Simple as a franchisee, what did your life look like? What industry were you in at that time?
Yeah, I feel like we kind of have a bit of a unique background for someone who got into the restaurant world. Originally, I was actually a high school teacher.
Okay.
And then I worked in at Fraser Valley Women's Institution. So Corrections Service Canada. I worked there for 6 years as a teacher. And then I started up my own business called Memory Momentum, but I was able to work from home a little bit more while my kids were young. All the while this was happening, my husband was RCMP, and we had made our move from the Fraser Valley to Princeton for 4 years.
Okay.
And we almost, like, you know, we lived very, very rural. Like, we didn't have cell signal at our place for 4 years, sort of thing. And yeah, a friend approached us, a really good friend, and said, "Hey, what do you guys think about this kind of entrepreneurial opportunity?" And I think we were open to change. We really always wanted to get to Kelowna.
Yeah.
We thought it would be in the policing way, but at this point, Ryan's my husband, he and Ken are the main franchisees who originally signed up and everything. But we went into this as a family, and we made the leap. So he actually left our CMP and we moved to Kelowna, and we opened December 2019. So timing wasn't exactly ideal. And obviously everything unfolded after that. Like, the pandemic was literally just had spawned, essentially, right? It was right around the corner. So we ran it as long as we could, the two of us, and he ended up going back to RCMP. So as a reservist, which means, you know, it's kind of like a teacher on call sort of thing. You work as you can or as needed. And I learned how to run the restaurant entirely on my own.
Wow.
I used to just kind of help with the front, and then I was like, okay, well, I guess we're running everything now. Yeah.
So if we go back, I'm curious, like, so what was specific about Pure and Simple that resonated with you? So you know, you wanted to get to, you had a taste, it sounds like, of entrepreneurship, and then you wanted to get to Kelowna, but there's lots of other options if you wanted to franchise. Like, why Pure and Simple? Where did that alignment come from?
For sure. We had looked into other smaller employee groups of franchises and stuff that wouldn't maybe need so many employees to run it. That piece concerned us for, you know, our being so green in the industry. But as we went to, you know, some trade shows and some franchise shows, and someone had mentioned Pure and Simple to us, like, you should really check this out. It's a budding brand back east. Yeah. And I think it would be a good fit. And plus, you know, Kelowna doesn't have really anything like it. So we actually went back east to Burlington, just outside of Toronto. And I'm from that area. And we tried it out, and we just fell in love with the concept, the restaurant. We were like, Kelowna needs this. We want this. Like, we came back to Kelowna missing Pure and Simple. And I was like, I can't wait till we open just so I can eat there all the time.
That's hilarious.
And so we took the dive, but The 7 to 3 concept for us was a
Right,
huge selling. That was outweighed the risk we thought with a bigger employee group.
right.
We all had coaching background, and we had played, sports at the post-secondary university level and had coached that level. And we just thought, okay, well, we can learn the restaurant part.
Yep.
It's the people part that would be tougher, but we just thought, well, if we're all coaches and leaders, that gives us hopefully a skill set needed to lead a team. And we didn't know we were going to be doing that in a pandemic, but
Yep. But off you went. So,
but
so
off
you,
we went.
as
Yeah.
you said, you started right in really the heart of the pandemic. And how did you navigate those early days? Like what kept you going? Because I know, you talked about how Ryan went back to, RCMP, but like, how did it like? You must have been staring at each other, going, "What have we done?" Like, was there? I'm sure that you went through doubt, and there's a whole bunch of emotions that you must have gone through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You continue to go through it because restaurants, and I know we
Mm,
speak on behalf of someone, we are not out of it. Like, we're
right.
in it for years still. It
Interesting.
just playing catch up. Partly for us because it hit us right out of the gate. Like, we just
Mm,
didn't get that traction we needed to establish the familiarity of our brand name. We didn't even have delivery, believe it or not, when we opened, because delivery and breakfast wasn't really
yeah.
that common of
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And it's actually not that long ago, but really the pandemic in 2020 revolutionized the delivery and takeout market.
Yeah.
And so when we shut down March of 2020, and like you said, that the thought process that you continue to go through, like, you don't really have time to say, you could get hung up on the what have we done, but you
Right.
just,
Right.
hey, we're in it. We just got to keep moving forward and solving problems. And thank goodness the franchise, they gave us lots of support, and they set up all the delivery and takeout as well, which helped,
Mm,
get us a little bit of traction to get open sooner than later,
yeah. Yeah.
because you could only open for takeout for a while. You couldn't open for any
At all.
dine-in.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And it's tricky too, because for new businesses, we didn't qualify for certain grants and
Grants.
subsidies. Yeah,
Hmm.
it was so it was hard. It still is hard. It's going to be hard for years. And we just keep looking at it as, it's a survival mindset, and we don't want to be in the mindset of um, the doubt and the what have we done. We just have to, keep swimming ultimately, for lack of a better phrase. And
Interesting. So, how much of your business today is the takeout delivery? Like, how is it still, because it grew obviously, well, a part of the pandemic it was all, but now people can come in. It's been like, so is it still a pretty big part of your business?
it's definitely significant. Like,
Hmm.
and I don't think delivery, especially through platforms, is exactly profitable for a lot of
Right, right,
businesses.
right.
But we look at it as, hey, it's marketing.
Yeah.
Our name is out there. Those people probably still come in and eat, maybe because of this. And it allows us to reach a lot of people at lunch times and stuff, for the ease of delivery. So that piece is great. As far as percentage, actually, I haven't looked at it recently, but probably in around 20%.
Oh, wow. Okay. So significant though.
Yeah, it can be like it
Hmm.
it does waver. And some days it will surge to like
Yeah, yeah,
30%. It really is well, the restaurant world itself is really hard to predict.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, Especially the last few years, there's been no consistent trend or situation every year,
Yeah,
right?
you don't know
So
every Thursday is going to be busy. You just don't know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like we one day to the next, sometimes we double, and we're but it's supposed to be quiet
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
How do we
That's
manage
funny.
this? So you gotta love the rush of it for
Yeah.
to be in it, that's for sure.
Interesting. When I was doing a little bit of, I mean, I'm familiar with Pure and Simple. I've been there for breakfast. So I'm curious. When I was doing some research, it's described as like a gathering place, like community place. Like that's one those words that kind of came out a lot. How do you guys sort of foster that sense of community in the restaurant? Like when someone comes in, like how do you guys do that?
I love that you asked that, because I'm actually from a small town, and so
Okay.
this piece was quite important to me. Which and I've been in the front. Like, we just hired a manager that's starting in the coming week, but otherwise it's been Ryan and I have been the ones
Okay.
running the restaurant as best we can. And it's been harder to be out with the guests because you just get so busy running
Yeah.
everything else, behind the scenes. But as we grew and as we opened, like we've developed such great friendships with regulars who have come, and people come and do business and work. Like it's like their office away from
Yeah.
home kind of thing. We know their drinks, we know their meals.
That's cool.
We have people who love certain tables, and when we can, we sit and have coffee, or we've definitely fostered what I feel like is a mini niche and community within. We have families that come every weekend and,
Yeah.
and things like that. And that fills our cup, like it feels good to, especially being newer to Kelowna in 2019, it feels like we have our own little connections at the restaurant. So
what do you want when someone walks into your place? Like, what do you want them to feel when they visit? Like what you've touched a little bit about sense of community, and for someone who maybe hasn't visited before, like what sort of experience can they expect?
yeah, I love the idea of just that extra hospitality, like the warmth. And how I've kind of coached our staff is I want you to greet our guests like we would be greeting someone coming into our home. Like, thank you so much for coming. We're so happy you're here. And we genuinely feel that way. And in coaching other people to help, or in coaching our staff to help convey that can be challenging at times. Everybody's coming with different skill sets and whatnot, right?
Right.
But that's the piece that I feel that there's been something that didn't quite come out of COVID the same as far as that hospitality goes and that warmth. And sometimes, and I don't want to say that for everybody, but I do feel like that there's that sense of there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of things that everybody's dealing with all the time, right? So if we can kind of go the extra mile to just make that eye contact, provide that sense of warmth and community, and we're so happy you're here, like that gratitude piece, that's the piece we're trying to convey, that we'd like to think we're trying to stand out and foster that feeling of community, like thank you for coming in, as best we can. It doesn't always get conveyed, especially if we're in a rush, but that's our goal for sure.
Too funny. So what are some of from a food perspective, like for people again that haven't experienced it, what are some unique offerings you have? What can people expect from what they're going to be getting for breakfast or lunch? Like what can you speak around that?
For me, and thinking back from when we first experienced it too, like the freshness and the quality of the food really spoke to me. It didn't, it just felt like a higher quality meat, especially, and now that I'm behind the scenes, I can speak to that.
Yeah.
Our coffee, I love our coffee. And I feel that sometimes some breakfast places have kind of a weaker coffee.
Yeah, right.
And I sought that out when we first went and tried it out. I'm like, but do they have good coffee?
It's important for breakfast. So
it is. And fresh avocado, I love that is a big part of a lot of our dishes. It's and a lot of the fresh, like all the fruit is very fresh. And so yeah, I would say the quality of food and the freshness of food is what really spoke to me, and I think is what is really great about our brand.
Do you get involved are you able to get involved? Because I would assume in the restaurant industry, there's constantly changing menu specials, like evolving things like that. How, like as a franchisee, are you involved in it? Are you like, or do you kind of just get handed, here's an idea that we tried at office,
Right.
or is it a little bit of both? Is there a little bit of a two-way communication when it comes to that sort of stuff?
Yeah, they're definitely very open to feedback. Whether or not it goes all the way to what's served, it's hard to say, but I would say it's a warm environment as far as a work relationship with the franchise as well. And I would say a bit that's tricky is that because we span Canada and we're newer to the West, there's a heavier influence from the taste buds of the East, which actually it works for us too. But I think as we grow in the West too, we'll start to see, I think, a bit more influence. But for me, I think even just that fresh avocado piece and some of those fresher pieces, I feel are a good fit, especially maybe for the West Coast or West Side. But yeah, there is a lot of kind of going back and forth in a good relationship that way for feedback.
Interesting. So I know being a restaurant owner to begin with, then a franchise owner's significant commitment. How do you balance personal business? Like you said, you're running late because things happened and you're busy, you're here. Like, so how do you balance the two, family, business, and all that? And where do you find time for yourself and all that?
Yeah, I don't know yet.
You're like, I'll get back to
Yeah.
you.
Can we do like a revisit this podcast in a year? I think for me, the mindset is you just weather the storm, for lack of a better word, as far as balance goes. But at the same time, we try to find the joy in the work, so that if there's not time for social or whatnot, then at least we're getting that piece fulfilled in a kind of a different way. And for me, I'm so happy. Like we've really fostered a fun, professional environment within our staff as well, our staff group. So going to work, considering I have to be there 7 days a week, at least I really, really enjoy the people I'm with.
Yeah.
So that piece is great. Because we're 7 to 3, as much work as it is, I get up early to make sure the family stuff is organized, the admin is organized. That's my peaceful time. And then at least I have the flexibility of getting off early, so that I can then go and, okay, now we're on mom time and whatnot. So
interesting. So what drives you then? What motivates you? Like, what just to do this, and what gets you up in the morning, and what motivates you through the day? Like, where's that drive for you?
Oh, that is a really good question. I think, again, like I love the people I work with. So that piece is easy for getting up.
Yeah.
The organization of it, the really trying to make it into something that you envision, that challenge of doing so helps. I have another business that it completely involves organization and systems. And so that has really helped me stay organized with the restaurant and balancing everything, for sure. And I do enjoy it. The challenging part, for sure, is that it's just such high volume, like ongoing commitment. So it'll be nice to get to a point where we can have more of a break from it, like as a family unit. But at least the work itself and the people itself, that makes it easy to kind of get up and enjoy your day. And I still get to walk my kids to school.
Which
I still get to pick. So, having those like pockets of fill in your cup kind of thing.
I love it.
It helps. So,
and you get to eat good food all day.
I actually don't even eat that much there.
You're like, I got no time to eat.
Yeah, I do like the garden fresh or the avocado toast, and our crepes are all gluten sensitive, so that's kind of fun too. That helps me out. But and again, the guests that come in, the customers, like that's kind of my social cup too, because I get to chat and visit with everyone there.
So if someone's listening and are considering potentially owning their own franchise, and it might be in a different vertical, whatever. I mean, you went through it, like the hardest time in an industry that probably got affected, other than tourism, probably the most when it comes to the pandemic. So what advice would you give someone? So someone is starting out, if you went back yourself, would you give yourself different advice? Would you, someone's looking at it today, what are some of the learnings you had that you could share?
Definitely the getting organized, having systems in place, and really understanding that, like with the bookkeeping, with the restaurants, all about systems front and back for the efficiency. Efficiency is so important. Working with the different labor groups, that's been like what we went through in COVID. You didn't have as much selection, so we had to kind of put up with some things from people that were more challenging that we wouldn't have to do. And I don't even have to deal with any of that now. So it's easier to put in like clear lines that if people cross them, then get the right people in here to make it a really nice place to work. So I would just organization, know your boundaries to make sure you get the right people, and know when you don't have the right people, it's not a good fit, time to move on, because really protecting that culture by getting the right people just makes everything else, like, you get to focus on all the things to grow your business and run it well. when you have a good team in place. So the people is probably the biggest piece, and then be organized.
Interesting. So is there any final thoughts, messages you want to share with like listeners about Pure and Simple one experience, or even the ability to support local businesses and community support? Because I know that's a big part of your guys's brand as Pure and Simple. And so any final thoughts around that is for anyone that's listening?
Yeah, I would say, well, I mean, we would love to support the community in any way we can, even if it's in small bits and pieces.
Right.
But the restaurant world alone, like even if just the kindness of as people go in and as we treat the people who come in, that goes such a long way. I feel like the ripple effect of whatever whatever
Interesting.
role you play in the hospitality role, whether
Right.
it's a guest or a staff member, that kindness has a huge ripple effect, I think, for everyone. So in the wake of like all the stresses and the huge challenges that everyone's gone through, like I would love the idea of like the hospitality world being the place where you can show up and get that experience,
Yeah.
that exchange of support and kindness, even if it's just over a meal, or about the meal.
Yeah.
And I just think feast, like coming together over good food, is just one of the best things ever.
Love it. Of course. I agree. And I think that's, thank you for sharing your journey today. And I know it probably wasn't easy for you as you started out, or even today, like you said, you're still recovering. I think, your food brings people together. I'm Italian, so food is part of our culture, and having dinners together and going out for dinner together and breakfast
Yes.
together. And I think that's important for people that are listening is, if you haven't tried it yet, Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it is, go try it. Like pop on by, and I'm sure they'll see you
Totally.
there.
You will. And it's one of our favorite things because we have this nice, beautiful, window at the pass
Right.
where you can see the kitchen and the servers. And we often we love when the babies come because we want the babies to sit close
That's
to us so
awesome.
we can get the cute fix. And love seeing, people are on dates, people are on, we have a senior group that comes every
That's
Sunday
awesome.
morning, and we get our senior fix. Like, yeah, it fills our cup to see all the different reasons that people gather together at our place. It's fantastic.
Well, amazing. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for joining me and telling us a little bit about the story. And I know
Yeah,
you guys have amazing food, so I would encourage listeners, if you haven't tried it, to go and try it. So thank you for spending some time with me today.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Rob. Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review and share the podcast with your friends so we can get the word out. And until next time, thank you for tuning into Business Matters, and have a great day. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We would like to thank your sponsor, Valley First, a division of First West Credit Union and a member-owned financial cooperative serving the Okanagan, Similkameen, and Thompson regions. They offer a wide range of banking and investment services for individuals and families. Valley First also has a talented business and commercial team to provide the expertise, products, and services local businesses need to grow and thrive.